Hey guys, what's going on? Yeah, it's another video guide on rotations, but for a different class, and that would be Blade Master, the Spectral Blade spec. Some of you are probably wondering, hey, wait, what? This isn't a Soul Fighter video, what are you doing? As I kind of said in my last video, I'm pretty much done with Soul Fighter at this point. Like, it's not fun for me to play anymore. I played the class since it was, I played it since it was released, and I also played it in Taiwan months and months and months and months before it was released in NA. So in total, I've played the class for about 4 years, and I'm actually just sick and tired of it. I mean, it was a great class for its time, but I'm kind of pretty much done with it at this point. With the release of third spec for Blade Master as of last week of this recording, exactly a week, Spectral Blade, I've been having a lot of fun. I've always wanted to play a Blade Master, but I never wanted to gear a Blade Master, but thankfully, NCSoft finally added in some type of system so that we are able to transfer our gear, and this only applies to North America and the Europe server. But they added in a system that allows us to transfer our gear, most of our gear, like pretty much all of our gear except for like a PvP weapon. But like pretty much all of the gear can be transferred. So I decided I'm gonna play Blade Master. I want to main it. I want to just like play something different. And so I took all the gear off of my Destro and I put it on my BM, and now here we are. So I've been playing it for a week, and I gotta say it's a lot of fun. I really, really do enjoy the class, and I have to say that the third spec Spectral Blade, it really does remind me of Soul Fighter's rotation, so it's really not that hard for me to get used to the rotation, because it's pretty similar, and like you'll understand later on why it's pretty similar. But yeah, someone asked me in the previous video if I would do a video on the spec and badges and stuff like that. So yeah, here I am. I'm gonna do a video on it. I hope you guys enjoy. If you don't, it's kind of whatever. It'll probably be a short video because there's not much to go over with this class. It's really, really, really basic, which is the nice thing about this spec. Anyways, what we'll do is we'll first get into the Martial Tome and look at the spec overall. One of the good things for starter players is when you spec into the Spectral Blade spec, your talent tree is pretty much set by default. Like, this is your talent tree for PvE. It's just 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. That's pretty much your talent tree, which is kind of nice. As far as point distribution goes, you're going to want to have 5 points in Swordfall, 5 points in Slice, 5 points in Falling Stars. Now, if you are in a party with a Soul Burn, you want to have 5 points in Awaken Fallen Stars. And the reason for that is this is your main bursty big dick damage ability. It's nasty, you know? It's really nasty. But that's pretty much your point distribution. If you're playing this class, I highly recommend that you disable Take Flight for PvE. Be sure to enable this, re-enable this for like PvP content, but for PvE, I highly recommend disabling Take Flight. If a boss gets CC'd and you're pressing F to put down Swordfall, you're going to end up putting the boss in the air, and that kind of sucks. A lot of people are trying to like macro this class, and they're saying if you macro the class, you should disable Cyclone as well, because Cyclone can be used pretty much freely after pressing 1 if you block, or if you get a resist of some sort off of certain abilities. I don't really recommend macroing this class. You can, but I honestly don't recommend it. At best, Simple Mode is not that bad. Simple Mode only does 2 ability interactions, which is the main abilities that you would kind of pretty much macro. But honestly, there's not that much of a point in macroing this class. I never believe in macroing classes that are mostly holding a button down for their main DPS. So like Soul Fighter, a lot of your DPS is coming, like a lot of your like off cooldown or your on cooldown DPS is coming from right punch, which you're basically your RMB, and you're just going to be holding it. It's sort of the same thing with Spectral Blade. You're pretty much going to be holding down your RMB for Slice. There's really not a point in macroing it, and I feel like macroing it would kind of make it a little bit wonky. Macroing abilities that you have to hold down kind of make it a little bit weird. There's not much of a difference. There's not a speed difference whether or not you're using simple mode, not simple mode, a macro, not a macro. It's pretty much going to be the same. So yeah, this is pretty much the overall spec and point distribution. As far as main abilities, your main abilities are going to be Swordfall, which will be on your F. Slice, which will be on your RMB, and Falling Stars, which is also on your RMB. Falling Stars is only available during Star Strike. By default, Star Strike is available for 8 seconds. Now, this is pretty much your like big dick damage ability. It's kind of like a blue buff, or it's like a self buff, like every minute. If you're running the Fuse badge, you'll have an additional 4 seconds to Star Strike, so you'll have 12 seconds in total. So for 12 seconds, you will have Swordfall, or not Swordfall, but Falling Stars or Awakened Fallen Stars. It also provides a 3-hit iframe for 5 seconds, which is also pretty nice. Your other main abilities are going to be Spirit Vortex, which is your V. Thunder Crash, which will be your X, and of course Lightning Draw. Reasons why Lightning Draw is going to be one of your main abilities is because it gives increases your critical chance by 10%, and it also increases your critical damage by 10% for 8 seconds. So you want to time this really with your big dick damage ability right here. V is very important. I mean, it does a decent amount of damage. It increases the critical damage by 15% for 15 seconds, which is kind of pretty much the entire duration of your bracelet. Spirit Vortex will also proc your bracelet as well for 15 seconds. So Spirit Vortex is originally a 30-second cooldown. It is reduced by quite a few different abilities, so I can make sure. Okay, no, it's not. Okay, just want to make sure. So you can reduce the cooldown of your V by using Blade Storm, which will be LMB. Swordfall, which will be your F. And yeah. Wait, that's the 2 main ones, right? Yeah, it is. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Anyways, where was I? Okay. That's your main abilities that you're going to be using in this. A few key tips, or notes, I should say. When you're in Flock Stance, this is called Flock Stance when you use your tab. When you're in Flock Stance, if you block every 15 seconds, you will have a block. It's called an auto block. And it will block all directional attacks in front of you, all frontal directional attacks for 6 seconds. And then it goes on cooldown for 15 seconds. Other key things in Flock is we can now use Wielding Spirit whenever we want. And then you also have C, which would be Guardian Blades. This gives you a resist for 2 seconds. That's a whole duration. It's not like a per hit thing. So yeah. As far as badges go, this is going to be pretty much your goal. This is going to be your goal. It'll be the Exemplar Soul Badge. This is a fusion between the Enforcer Soul Badge and the Vintage Soul Badge. For a starter Soul Badge, you want to use Vintage. And the reason for that is Vintage will reduce the cooldown of Spirit Vortex by 2 seconds after using Blade Storm, Swordfall, or a Spectral Sword. And then when you get the Fuse version, you'll get the duration increase and the 10% critical damage from the Enforcer badge. If you're going for like a really bursty thing, and you don't have the Fuse badge, I would recommend Enforcer, but that's only if you're going to kill something like really fast. But your main badge is going to be Vintage. I gotta make sure of something real quick. Okay, so when you're running the Vintage Soul Badge, you're going to get the 2-second cooldown reduction off of your Spirit Vortex, and with the badge, you're going to get another 2 seconds. So every time you use Swordfall, that is 4 seconds off of Spirit Vortex. And then your LMB decreases the cooldown of Swordfall, and then it reduces the cooldown of Spirit Vortex with the badge. Reducing the cooldown of Swordfall is pretty important, so your rotation mainly is going to be RMB. So you just do V, RMB, F, then LMB, X. Swordfall's about to come up, so you Swordfall, and then you LMB again. keep rinse repeating. Rinse repeating. Swordfall, V, F, X, L and B. Swordfall comes up. L and B. That's pretty much your rotation. I don't recommend macroing this class because you want to manage Swordfall, you want to manage Vortex, and you want to manage Blade Storm for an optimal rotation. You want to manage these to make sure that you're not wasting the cooldown, so that way you have the minimum downtime on those abilities as much as possible. So like when you're macroing it and you're just blindly spamming LMB and you put down Vortex, like you put down Vortex, or you use LMB then put down Vortex, like even if Vortex wasn't on cooldown, that's kind of a waste. Same thing with Swordfall, it's kind of a waste. It's not that bad with Swordfall, and that's kind of why it's in the simple mode rotation. The simple mode rotation is only Slice and Swordfall. There's no other abilities in there besides, like, it's just pretty much RMBF. That is the simple mode rotation, which is why if you're gonna use sort of like a macro, I recommend using simple mode. Despite what people say, there is no difference between speed of using simple mode and not using simple mode. Your RMB is going to be the same exact speed. I don't know who's been talking about it, but that's been floating around somewhere. No, it's still the same exact speed. Anyways. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, it's a pretty basic class as far as the rotation goes. But like I said, you want to time your lightning draw with your Star Strike, and you want to also time your Spirit Vortex with your Star Strike, because this is your big dick damage ability. Other than that, it's just mostly paying attention to your cooldowns and stuff like that. Yeah. I guess what I can do is just like actually show the rotation in play. So give me 1 minute. I think I'm going to miss a lot on this because I don't have the accuracy to fight this thing. I'm actually just going to swap this down to Moyen. I'm going to put this on that. And oh my god, I did what I said don't do. I did something that I said don't do. And that was wasting cooldowns, so ignore that one. One final thing. For souls, a lot of Blade Masters are running True Transcendent Soul, and they're syncing they're syncing Long Soul with, whatever it's called. Jesus, what's it called? Star Strike. I'm new to the class, give me help. That's actually pretty good to do. It gives you like a lot of burst. Like I can burst a lot higher than what I was doing, but I'm like really laggy right now because the servers are pretty dog shit. But usually just by myself I can hit 3.1, 3.2, and then if I got like a soul burn, I can hit like 4 mil. Soul burn and a bloom buff, I hit 4 mil with just this gear. So like the opening burst damage from this class is absolutely ridiculous. Sustain wise, it kind of drops off. But if you're timing your Star Strike with your Long Soul, your damage will roughly stay pretty high. Like last time I did a parse, I finished at 1.6 with the gear that I have available, which isn't very much. Your damage will your sustained damage is definitely going to go up with 8 set and a max Celestial Emperor ring, which I do not have. And then your burst is going to go crazy high with the Celestial Emperor ring at stage 10. It's pretty ridiculous. But let me just get this out of the way. My pings are all over the place. No. Yeah, my ping's so bad. Like, I'm so laggy right now. It's like Star Strike's about to come up. I still got 10 seconds left on Soul, so I'm gonna hold off. But I also have what 3 seconds, so there's that. My damage is like really so bad right now. My crit rates and stuff are so bad. I don't know what I might have did, but that's pretty much the rotation in a nutshell. If you guys enjoyed the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. I guess that's fine. Sorry, my voice is starting to cut out. I'm not feeling too well. But it's a pretty basic class. If I got anything wrong, please feel free to correct anything that I've said down below. But most of it's pretty accurate. I might have jumbled some things up here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty accurate. It's a very basic spec to play, but it's also a lot of fun to play. So yeah. You guys have an awesome day. I'll see you in the next video.